and welcome to the first ever bonus episode of Update X, where I'm going to be giving you a roundup of everything that was shown at the Inside Xbox Series X gameplay event, as well as my thoughts on it and some of what's been said since the event. My name's Brendan Rushitar at The Only Rush on Twitter and basically everywhere else. Let's get started. So the event starts with Aaron Greenberg from Team Xbox from his kitchen, air quotes, with the Xbox Series X as his fridge in the background. They embraced the meme that came from that. That was good. He says, "You're going to see the first ever Xbox Series X gameplay," term used loosely because they didn't show a lot of gameplay like they said they were going to. They showed in-engine footage, like, I don't know, what seemed to me is they showed in-game engine footage, like cutscenes and stuff like that, but there wasn't a whole lot of actual anyone playing the games, which is what me and the community defines as gameplay. But we'll get into that in a minute. So he was just talking about the Inside Xbox event, and then he transfers to Matt Booty, who's the head of Xbox Game Studios. He talks about how everyone at the studios are working at home, and he reiterates that first-party gameplay will be in July from studios like Double Fine, Ninja Theory, and Obsidian, and of course 343. So he's just reminding everyone that this is just going to be a third-party title event. And it goes to the new Xbox startup sound, or what I'm assuming is the startup sound of the Xbox Series X. I dig it. And the words come across the screen: "First look Xbox Series X gameplay. Every game you're about to see is optimized for Xbox Series X." And throughout the Inside Xbox event, you'll see an optimized for Series X badge on the screen. Most likely a design that will be placed on box art for games that come out for next gen. And I don't think there's going to be any optimized for Series S or anything like that, because the Series X is the powerhouse. That's what they're going to want to advertise. That's what they're going to want to showcase and tell everyone this is the best box to play the games on. But either way, it's an interesting look at an aspect of box art, or a potential aspect, probable aspect, I guess. And it starts with a game by Playism called Bright Memory Infinite. This game was made from the ground up by one guy. One guy made this game for the most part, which is incredibly impressive because this is one of the best, if not the best, looking game from the event graphically. And there was a tweet from the one-man studio, FYQD Studio on Twitter, saying 80% was him and 20% was from UE Store, Quixel, Speedtree, and Turbo Squid, whatever all those are. But even 80% of the development being just that one guy is incredibly impressive. So Bright Memory Infinite is an all-new lightning-fast fusion of the FPS and action genres. Combine a wide variety of skills and abilities to unleash dazzling combo attacks, set in a sprawling futuristic metropolis in the year 2036. I like the mobility of the game with the grappling, sliding, and wall running. Getting some Titanfall vibes, not quite as fast as Titanfall, I think, but similar aspects to the game. Plus the combat I liked too, with the variety between the guns, the sword, and whatever other melee force push thing she was doing to some of the enemies with her arm. An interesting thing I saw about this game on Steam, I know this is an Xbox event, but this was notable enough for me to want to include it in this. On the Steam page for the game, Bright Memory was initially started out as a demo until that developer could get enough time and funding to make Bright Memory Infinite. It says on the Steam page that, quote, "All Bright Memory owners will get Bright Memory Infinite for free." And to my knowledge, what I'm getting from this is only on PC, on Steam. So buying this on Steam doesn't get you Bright Memory Infinite on Series X for free. And Bright Memory is listed on Steam for $10. And there's no price for Bright Memory Infinite yet, but it could be like, I don't know, it'd be at least like $40, I think, if not $60. So if you're planning on getting Bright Memory Infinite on Steam, it might be a good idea to just get Bright Memory on Steam for $10 and then just get Bright Memory Infinite down the line whenever that comes out for free. This isn't, I mean, it's on the Steam page, but that's as much, quote, confirmation as you can get on this. I was trying to get a hold last night of the developer and ask if this was true. I sent a tweet at him to see if he could confirm this or not. I haven't heard back from him yet, so we'll see how that goes. I'll share an update on the Update X Show Twitter page when I find out for sure. And then the event cuts to Damon Baker, who is the head of Xbox's global portfolio. He talks about how developers are taking advantage of the new hardware, and he brings up smart delivery. And then he says, this event is a slice of next-gen games you can expect from our partners this holiday and early next year. So all of these are coming out either this holiday or early next year, so you won't have to wait a year for any of these titles, is what he's saying. Everything you see here will highlight the in-game experience with actual gameplay captured in-engine. And then it goes to Dirt 5, which is a part of Smart Delivery, and there's not a lot to unpack in this trailer. It's a racing game. Graphically, it looks great, as racing games usually do. That's where they like to showcase the graphics for the next-gen systems. The music was great in the trailer. I like that too. And later in the event, there was an interview with, where was it? Malik Prince, who's the Xbox MVP program manager, and Robert Karp, who's the development director for Dirt 5. And they talked about the game's setting. So they're going to have tracks in New York, China, Norway, Brazil, Italy, and Robert Karp said there's going to be many more. You can race in all seasons of the year. As far as vehicles, they've got rally cars, buggies, sprint cars, more than that, obviously. New thing to the franchise, 4-player split screen is going to be in Dirt 5, which is always good to see with new games that are coming out now, because that is definitely not as normal as it used to be. And in career mode, you'll sign on to real-world sponsors. Troy Baker is the voice actor for your manager in the game. Nolan North is the voice actor for your nemesis in career mode. So that was interesting to see as well, those names in there. And then the event moved on to Scorn, which is a game by Ebb Software. The footage from this game is creepy and weird, to say the least. There was a lot of back and forth on Twitter of people being like, never show me this again, kill it with fire, and this is really cool, I want to see more. The trailer or footage doesn't really say anything about what the game is about. It just basically shows the art style. And the website for it says, Scorn is an atmospheric first-person horror adventure game set in a nightmarish universe designed around the idea of being thrown into the world. It's coming to Xbox Game Pass, which is going to get plenty more people into this game because of how I said everyone's like, never show me this again. Since it's going to be on Xbox Game Pass, more people are going to be like, okay, I'll try it out since I can get it for free. I will. I don't think I would have bought it if it wasn't on Game Pass, so good move by them. They got me. It's really hard to explain anything that's actually in the footage that they show here. Since an interesting way that someone described the art style is it's human enough where we recognize what is in the footage, but alien enough to make us uncomfortable, which was the perfect way to explain this. It's incredibly odd. The interesting thing is there has been footage and gameplay videos of this game on YouTube for like 3 years. So it's been around for a bit and the footage is out there. But it's just now being brought up more publicly as it's getting closer to release. And another thing that was said in an IGN article said that Ebb Software has announced that Scorn will be exclusive to Xbox Series X when the game launches. No details have been provided about a PC or PlayStation release, but the developer's website lists only Xbox, Windows Store, and Steam. And that threw me off at first because I remembered hearing that the Series X wouldn't have exclusives for the first year, but that was actually about first-party games, so this doesn't count. They won't have first-party exclusives for the first year. And the event then goes on to Chorus, which is also going to be a part of Smart Delivery. So this one is a space starfighter kind of game. To start with, take control of Nara, once the Circle's deadliest warrior, now their most wanted fugitive, on a quest to destroy the dark cult that created her. Unlock devastating weapons and mind-bending abilities in a true evolution of space combat shooter. Along with Forsaken, her sentient starfighter, explore ancient temples, engage in exhilarating zero-G combat, and venture beyond our waking reality. That just looked like a fun space starfighter combat game. It's been a while since I played a good one of those. And then the event goes on to Madden 21, and it starts with Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback from the Chiefs, talking about Madden. They have a Madden montage from the first Madden game, going through a couple of the older ones onto the new Madden games. And the big thing they pushed with this trailer was feel next level. And Patrick says, loads of Madden 21 news coming soon, and when you buy Madden 21 on Xbox One, you get it for free on Xbox Series X. Keep in mind, this is EA. So there's a caveat to this. At the bottom of the screen when he says that, it says, offer details coming soon at ea.com/next level. And the offer details on the website say, to receive the offer, players must purchase Madden NFL 21 on Xbox One by December 31st, 2020, and upgrade to the Xbox Series X by March 31st, 2021. So it's not a part of Smart Delivery. Xbox's Smart Delivery program is not going to have weird time exclusive upgrades for this kind of thing. This is just EA's upgrade program for Madden 21. And I don't expect EA to have an upgrade plan of some sort for every game that they put out, but for the games that they do decide to have an upgrade plan for, I wouldn't be surprised if all of them had this dumb time window to be able to get the upgrade. I just don't see why you want to do that. Like, EA is... I don't want to keep saying they're money hungry, but that's what it seems like with all these announcements they put out. So yeah, if you're not planning on getting the Xbox Series X by the end of March next year, then don't expect to get the next-gen version of Madden 21 for free. And then the event cuts to Sarah Bond, who is the head of Xbox Partnerships, and she talks about the many developers that Xbox is working with for next-gen. She says, every major publisher worldwide is developing for Xbox. We already have hundreds of games coming to the Xbox Series X in 2021. And then it shows a screenshot of a ton of publisher logos. I'll have that up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube, and for people watching or listening to the podcast. There's a lot of visual aspects to this bonus episode, so sorry, but YouTube is the better place to watch this one because I'll have trailers and the picture of the publisher logos on the screen. And throughout the entire event, there's periodically a message at the bottom of the screen saying, stay tuned for the world premiere of Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. So in the lead up to this event, they always advertise that, and during the event, they're advertising that Valhalla gameplay is coming at the end, which just makes the lack of Valhalla gameplay at the end even worse. For any of you who haven't seen the Inside Xbox event yet, it's incredibly disappointing. It's just bad. And the event then goes to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This game's also going to be a part of Smart Delivery. The trailer has a guy sitting by a Christmas tree with 3 people strung up like puppets around the room. It's very like serial killery vibes. He's dancing around to music with the strung up people. Their eyes are all wide and they got hooks in their mouths to make their mouths like the Joker smiles. The whole thing's really creepy and reminded me of the guy in Silence of the Lambs. The website's description of the game says, sired in an act of vampire terrorism, your existence ignites the war for Seattle's blood trade. Enter uneasy alliances with the creatures who control the city and uncover the sprawling conspiracy which plunged Seattle into a bloody civil war between powerful vampire factions. That game's coming 2020. That game didn't really do much for me. A lot of people were down on this one for the graphics because the graphics don't look next gen at all. It seemed like this was just another title for them to show, regardless of how it actually looked. I saw a lot of jokes on Twitter of people being like, coming to Xbox 360 because it just doesn't look great. You got a lot of flack for that one. And then the event goes to Call of the Sea, which is coming to Smart Delivery and Game Pass, an otherworldly adventure game set in the 1930s South Pacific. Explore a lush island paradise and puzzle out the secrets of a lost civilization in the hunt for your husband's missing expedition. I really like the visuals of this one. The graphics aren't crazy good, I just like the art style of it. Plus, I like puzzle games, and it's on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to be playing this one. Um, yeah, this one just looks like a fun puzzle game, basically. Nothing crazy out there about this one. It just looks fun. And then on to The Ascent, which is coming to Smart Delivery. A solo and co op action RPG set in a cyberpunk world. The mega corporation that owns you and everyone, the Ascent Group, has just collapsed. Confusion and chaos ensue, security and order are in disarray, and without protection, everyone is left to fend for themselves. Stop gangs and hostile corporations from taking over and discover what really happened. Even for a top down shooter, which is what this one was, it was top down, it didn't say that in the description. It was one of the better looking games out of all of them shown here graphically. I jump into top down shooters once in a while, but I don't really go out of my way to play them. If this was coming on Game Pass, I might jump into it, but they didn't say it was, so I probably won't be checking it out. It does look good though, if you like top down shooters. And then the event goes on to The Medium. And this is from Blooper Team, which brought us Layers of Fear and the Blair Witch game. It's a psychological horror game, and the description is: become a medium living in two different worlds, the real one and the spirit one. Haunted by the vision of a child's murder, you travel to an abandoned hotel resort, which many years ago became the stage of an unthinkable tragedy. There, you begin your search for difficult answers. As a medium with access to both worlds, you have a wider perspective and can see more clearly that there's no one simple truth to what others perceive. Nothing is what it seems. Everything has another side. Coming holiday 2020. That one looked really interesting to me. Graphically, it looked good. The whole vibe it was giving off was good to me. Being a medium like that, going back and forth between the real world and the spirit one, looked really interesting to me. And then the event goes to this guy whose name I'm going to butcher. Anderzej Moderzak, sure, who's the writer for Blooper Team. He talks about the medium, and they're working with the composer from the Silent Hill series, and says they will have more to reveal soon. And just like Dirt 5 later in the event, they talked with someone about the game, one of the developers. So Katarina Macedo, who is the program manager at Xbox, was talking to Jacek Ziba, I butchered that one too, who's the game producer for The Medium. So the game promises to keep you guessing and your heart racing. It's in Krakow, Poland in the late 90s. I'm pretty sure he said 90s. His accent was kind of hard to read. He could have said 80s or 90s. He said like 80s is what it sounded like, so I wasn't sure. He said when going between worlds and levels, there will be no loading screens. So I'm not sure if that was a hard no loading screens between worlds and levels, or if it was like virtually no loading screens between all that, but we'll see how that actually goes. And after that one, there was Scarlet Nexus. So this game's also coming to Smart Delivery, and the game looks good overall. I'll start with that. The footage itself, the enemies, like, it was pretty straightforward, but it's just the enemies in the trailer got me. I don't know how to explain what they were for those of you listening to the podcast. It was like they told a kid to just think up a bunch of monsters and draw them on a piece of paper, and then they made it in the game. They're all over the place and really hard to describe. So, description for Scarlet Nexus. The description on the website is really long and wordy, so I kind of had to condense that down a little bit too. It's in a far distant future. A hormone was discovered and gave people powers. Mutants, known as Others, came from the sky thirsty for human brains. They're resistant to conventional attack methods. Humans with the powers from the hormone are called psionics. Using psychokinetic abilities, the world around you becomes your greatest weapon. Lift, break, and throw pieces of your environment to build your attack combos and lay waste to your enemies. Dive into a complex story of bonds, courage, and heroism crafted by minds behind the iconic Tales of Vesperia, coming soon to Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So that one looks really good. It's a cool hack and slash. I like the music. I liked the combat style. I'm probably going to pick that one up too. And then it moves on to The Second Extinction, which is a great name for this game. I'll start off. This will be a part of Smart Delivery as well. This game's basically just kill dinosaurs with guns. That's it. That's the game, from what I've seen in the footage. In the trailers, the dinosaurs get blown to pieces just by shooting them with a rifle, so they're made out of paper, I guess. It's an intense 3-player co-op shooter where your goal is to wipe out the mutated dinosaurs that have taken over the planet. Teamwork is vital as you adopt the role of one of the survivors, using a combination of weapons, abilities, and skills to take on the vast number of enemies. That one, I don't know if there's going to be much like quantity of content. I think it'll just be fun to screw around with your buddies in that one. And then the event goes on to Yakuza Like a Dragon. This will also be a part of Smart Delivery. Become Ichiban Kasuga, a low-ranking Yakuza grunt left on the brink of death by the man he trusted most. Take up your legendary bat and get ready to crack some underworld skulls in a dynamic RPG combat set against the backdrop of modern-day Japan. And then the event goes to Toshihiro Nagoshi, who is the Yakuza series executive director. He says Yakuza Like a Dragon will be available as part of the Xbox Series X launch slate, as well as on Xbox One and Windows 10. And a cool piece of this, if you go to the official Yakuza Like a Dragon website, and you gotta select your country and put in your birth date and all that, go to pre-order the game for Xbox, and you can see what seems to be next-gen Xbox box art, which I'll have on the screen. And if you're listening to the podcast, go to the Yakuza Like a Dragon website and go through that to pre-order the game for Xbox, and you'll see the picture there. And I kind of like the box art. Some of people's predictions have been true with this. So the top of it just says Xbox. It doesn't say like Series X at the top. It's just Xbox. Below that, it says Xbox Series X, Xbox One. So below the initial logo, it looks like the box art for games will have whichever systems they're compatible with. And then on the right side of it, it has the optimized for Series X badge that I talked about earlier. The badge is a little bit big on the box art, but this might not be a final design for box art. And it says Smart Delivery on the top right of the box. So that's how they're going to advertise that on those games. So yeah, the box art looks cool. I'm actually a fan of it, other than the badge being a little bit too big, but that's fine. And the event then goes back to Damon Baker, who introduces the, quote, gameplay debut of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't want to bash them for this because like the game looks really good and all that. It's just their marketing for this versus the presentation of it was just not good, but I'll get into that after I go over what they showed. So it says Smart Delivery, as they've said before, it'll be a part of that. There's a bunch of cool in-game engine cinematic shots, so like what looks like cutscenes and all that. Nothing that looks like gameplay, honestly. You see Eivor, who's the main character, sounding a Viking horn, a battering ram used on a door. Not sure if that's a cutscene of a siege or if there's actual sieges in-game that you can take a part in. That would be really cool. Eivor throwing some axes, and a raven flying onto Eivor's shoulder, and the Valhalla logo. Essentially, that's it. That's it. That's all they showed. It wasn't really gameplay. Nobody was playing the game. There wasn't any like heads-up display. There wasn't any UI on the screen. There wasn't any of that. It was just like cutscenes is what it looked like. And then it cuts to Jeff Rubinstein, who's introducing Ashraf Ismail, who's the creative director for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is the exchange they had about the footage that was shown. Jeff says, "Did I just see new Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay for the first time?" Ashraf replies, "Yeah, absolutely. That was directly from the game." Yeah, it was in-game footage, but it's not footage of anyone playing the game. It wasn't gameplay. I don't understand how they thought this was the way to go. Ashraf elaborates a little bit more on some aspects of the game. He says, "We've reinvented combat to be visceral, brutal, tons of enemy variety, dual-wielding weapons, and a new take on player progression, gear, and weapon systems." And so later yesterday, there was a tweet from Ashraf Ismail addressing the outrage over the lack of gameplay. He says, "Hello all. You rightfully expected to see more today. We have a long marketing campaign ahead of us. You will see in-depth gameplay and get a lot more info about the game. Thank you for your excitement and passion. Be patient with us and be kind. It will be worth it." The thing is, no one has a problem with, I mean, some people might, but for the most part, no one would have a problem with not seeing gameplay yet. The problem is, Everyone was told that they were going to see the world premiere of Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. That's what they were going to see. They didn't really see that. They saw in-game footage. That's not the same as gameplay. That's where the outrage is. The marketing versus the presentation just didn't line up. I don't know who is in charge of that, but somebody screwed up somewhere, and it's really disappointing. It is really disappointing. The Valhalla presentation, as well as the entire Inside Xbox event as a whole, being advertised as gameplay and not containing that much gameplay, it was pretty disappointing as a whole, and it's sad to see. But that was my roundup and my thoughts on the Inside Xbox Series X gameplay event. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube or for listening on podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want to get more frequent gaming news posts from me in between episodes, you can follow the show's page on Twitter at UpdateXShow. You can also give me any feedback or suggestions you have about the show while you're there. Outside of game news, I post gaming clips for fun on TikTok at TheOnlyResh. If you want to check that out, and my personal Twitter page is also at TheOnlyResh, where I post non-strictly news-related stuff. As always, thank you so much for choosing Update X for your gaming news. I'll see you next Monday morning. Have a great week.